We're chasing comedy, working on jokes, working on bits, seeing what sticks, seeing what stinks. We're Brian and Dustin, and we're chasing comedy.
Welcome back to Chasing Comedy. No,
welcome back, everybody.
Nobody's here, but we're just going to say welcome back.
and keep those cards and letters coming, by the way. And the view count and the cards and letters, the emails, the telegrams that we love.
This is
getting
the show
telegrams.
We welcome stalkers because nobody's listening, and we need somebody to get excited about this.
We will take anything you want. We'll get a restraining order. Anybody that wants to listen to this, even if it's the government spying on us, we'll take it.
Well, I'll open it. You know, we had a logo thing, like a promo of our AI comedian Carlos Mencia. Ace Ventura. Carlos Mencia AI, which is the comedian.
No, hold on. Cut that. It's not Carlos Mencia AI. It's just Mencia AI. I want to make sure that we...
Okay, no Carlos.
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with... There's no Carlos. It's like... like the... What's that called? The company... The
but if he said he was mad at us online, that would help us.
I even think we can't get him to listen to this show. That's the problem. Okay, we can't.
If you told him we're writing material, I think
he would
listen
say,
to the show.
You know what, Carl? He would actually say, "No one's listening to that show, so who cares?"
Well, he might listen to it just because we're cranking out some good bits. You say
true.
that, and then next month he has a.
That's true.
Yeah, a good joke on what's that guy, Jim Jones, that you love.
Jim Jones. Mensa AI is the guy's name because it's like the Mensa, but it's the opposite of Mensa because it's a stupid...
Dementia AI, where he forgets the joke.
AI.
Dementia
because
AI forgets the joke.
There's something so funny about the subtlety of that joke because you don't say Carlos, you say Mensa AI. Okay. So cut Carlos.
All right.
Yeah.
I hear you. We cut it. We all cut it off. It's interesting podcasting, but we're going to cut it all out.
But as Adam works feverishly in the background to manufacture something what would be obviously a brick wall because that's
people
the most
don't know what
obvious
you're talking about. Like the brick wall for the Carlos Mencia.
Thank you. Bleep him every time he does that. He puts a quarter in the swear jar or something. It's like something like that. Okay.
I don't know.
Mensa AI. No, it has to be. I think it's.
You're really dying on this hill. I don't know.
I am dying on this hill. I will really every time. I think AI needs to be small AI, but whatever. I think
it also sounds better in theory, like
because when you look at that,
when you tell it to a comedian, they're going to laugh. But when you try to execute it, that's the thing. I don't know.
What would be funnier is if there's a dash Mensa dash AI or Men.
People have no idea what we're talking about.
I don't.
That's the problem with the podcast. People are just like, what are they talking about?
Okay, look, guys, we're trying to name our comedy mascot, our comedy, our nemesis, our comedy nemesis, our comedy arch rival, arch enemy, which is Mensa AI. That's the name.
Explain it.
Mensa AI is an AI avatar of an AI comedian that Adam, our genius engineer, all around. No one knows what he's doing all day. He's drone striking people in third world countries, as well as building the infrastructure that makes your software operate and your internet. This is the man behind it. Don't be fooled by his genial demeanor. This man has more reach than Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, and Steve Jobs combined. Okay, or whoever, Mike Cook or Fred Cook or Bill Cook or whatever that guy's name is, Peter. Tim Cook. Thank you. Adam has built the overall skin, the underpinnings, the foundation.
This is taking forever.
Yeah, I know. This is what I do. Okay, I know. You asked me to explain it, and then I do, and then it's not good enough. This is the show. Okay. Okay.
It's been 5 minutes.
So
like we're trying
to figure out how to. So is it Men C, which is with a capital C and then dash small letters AI? We're trying to figure out what the best name for the thing is. It doesn't really matter because who cares? But my point is Mensa AI, that's who Mensa AI is, our AR comedian. And we are going up against the scraping ability of AI to come up with material. And in our genius, like Bobby Fischer playing against Deep Blue, that's us. We're Bobby Fischer, okay, who ended up an anti-Semite alone and in a room in Sri Lanka somewhere. But that's not
Like
the point. The point is that, like most comedians, like we probably are on our way there.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at with the show. I don't know if that helps explain anything. Probably not.
No,
but whatever.
It just made it more confusing.
Why don't you explain it? Then you explain it.
What I wanted to talk about was my defensiveness of labeling comedians, because we had a picture of this apparent hack in front of a cruise ship, and Brian signed off on it, and I was not happy about it, because I feel like, any comedian working is a good day for that comedian. And so I feel like a lot of times people want to label, comics as club comics. They want to label them as cruise ship comics. They want to label them as, whatever label that they come up with. I don't know. I don't like it. I think, it's like comedy has changed dramatically over the years. And, I'm on ships. I've been with some brilliant comedians on ships, and I've been with some guys like, I've heard that before. But, but at the same time, it's like most of the guys I work with are good comics. And it's like it's like you choose, you want to make a $75 spot, or do you want to make $4,000 a week? It's like, what is it you want to do as a comedian? I want to pay bills. And so, it's like, that's, my decision. But no, I don't know. I just don't like it when comics do that. Cause I remember Louis C.K. did that on like Tonight Show or something. He did.
What did he say?
He was discussing something. He was on a cruise ship, and his daughter asked him, is that a comedian or like you? And then he was just like, well, that's not like a real comedian, and like went off on and basically just, crapped all over, ship comedians. And I just thought it was not the worst thing he's done, but I feel like it's definitely, just kind of this arrogance that comedians have because, they're city comics or whatever. And then they, go after guys that are working. And I don't know. I just, I guess.
Well, there's always been a stratification perception of certain dynamics within the comedy community, like prop acts or guitar acts. It's unfortunate. But there is this element of like, okay, that's a comic, that isn't. Who's a comic, who isn't? Like
Stephen Wright was a guitar act,
He was?
Yeah, I saw him in Vegas
when he first started.
No, his hour show is 30 minutes of it is guitar.
Is it really?
The first half, when he does an hour, like in Vegas, when I saw him in Vegas, it was like the first half was all his like one-liners. And then he picked up a guitar and did like funny songs and silly things.
No, I know. That there's always been this kind of battle, intellectual battle in the comedy community about what's real comedy and who isn't. Like who's that guy who's the piano guy that I used to always make fun of? Mark Russell. Remember Mark Russell used to move the piano playing guy with the bow tie in Washington. He oh my God, he was huge in like the 80s, 90s. Here we go. The Democrats and the Republicans are fighting once again, and it was this incredibly upper class. You couldn't get a wider audience of people clapping, and like comedians would just go, ugh. Like Jay Leno trashed him. I remember.
Yeah, right? That's horrible. We're a band of brothers. I don't like it at all. I mean, but when Zach Galifianakis gets behind a piano, he's a genius. He said the N-word. So it's like, it's just it's just a weird thing.
Okay, then all right.
A lot of people say clean comics aren't good comics, and I work with there's nobody more successful than Nate, and so he outsold Chappelle. So it's like a lot of people are like, they think that's corny. They think people that are clean are not, this Bill Hicks or this envision of what they think Pryor or whatever that type of comedian is. Like you're missing something because you're not being dark and like, profane or whatever.
Well, okay. Yeah, no, I understand that. I mean, I've never ascribed to this idea that, that was all the Dice versus Jerry Seinfeld thing, which was like Dice used to make fun of Jerry Seinfeld. I don't talk about socks in the dryer, so I'm not a real comedian, right? Because Dice got all this crap because he was so filthy that he got like, and so then he clapped back at and for no reason trashed Seinfeld. You know, I don't know if I'm into that kind of stuff. So there was like this whole, I don't talk about socks in the dryer, so go, you know, like, and I always thought Dice was funny, and I thought Jerry was funny. So like, I never had a weird thing about clean comics, you know, so.
No, not you specifically. I'm just saying in the realm of comedy, there's just, you know, there's people that.
But then, okay, so then is there? Okay, but then let me ask you this, because there's your point being, and we could get into a debate about this, because something I wrestle with, your point being that there's no, you know, comics should never speak ill of other comedians, is like, you know, no matter what they do, or is there a thing called hack? Is there a thing called hack, or isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, I think it's debatable sometimes who wrote the joke first. You know, I've heard some of my jokes.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I think
you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what's perceived to be low-hanging fruit, cheap. And I'm not even talking about, you know, Chappelle talking about trans issues. I'm not talking about stuff that's controversial within the zeitgeist of what's debated. I'm talking about, like, you know, there used to be the thing of like, if you're doing like, give me a bad example, like a Gilligan's Island bit, or back in the 80s, 90s, certain bits were like, that's hack. If you're talking about Gilligan's Island, you're talking about douche commercials. Remember that one? There was a disposable douche. Well, who saves them? I just remember 47 comedians doing that joke, right? Like, and I'm trying to think of what's hack now. And I know people would say, well, it's trans jokes. And I go, well, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. But what's that?
Trump is hack now.
Well, okay. But I've seen great Trump jokes.
I haven't.
I have a great Trump joke. Okay.
I mean, you know, it's like, I think people want to escape that, but then there's people. But it
depends on the. But once again, it's like anything else. It's like depends on the joke. What's his name? Ian Edwards has one of the best Trump jokes ever.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny, and he makes the audience uncomfortable, and the level of tension that he builds, and then the release when the punchline comes is so great. Like, it's like astonishing. Like, it's so awesome.
Right. Well, Conan O'Brien agrees with me. So,
well, no, he doesn't, because he says if you just say that Conan's talking about a specific genre of Trump jokes. He's not. He never said any Trump joke is bad.
Yeah.
Dov Davidoff has a great Trump joke where he goes on stage and goes, I loved, I don't. I get, I see Trump, and there's things. What's weird is that I agree with him, but I don't feel good. You know, like even when I feel good, like he'll say, well, what are you going to replace Obamacare with? Something great. And I'm like, okay, that something great could be good. Something great could be good. I don't feel good right now. like it's great. And that's not even the best.
There's good political comedians for sure. I'm just saying, but it's few and far between, but there's definitely, I don't know. I feel like, the impressions and things like that, sometimes it just gets a little, saturated. But that's the thing. It's the same thing, like you were saying, like back in the day with the douche jokes and stuff. I feel like the impression and stuff is of Trump. Whenever somebody launches a new impression, it feels, like it tiresome, when they do the impression. One thing of, something like that, how it makes you feel, that's different. I'm talking about like they doing impression, and doing all this stuff. And like, it's just like, I can't take it.
Could you do that one more time? I just want to see that. Put that's our video. That's our video for the promotion of the show. Whatever that was. I'm not sure what that was.
Great. Like I purposely am bad at impressions because I don't want to ever be good at them. But no, it's
I want to call up my Trump bit where I do Trump. It's a terrible Trump, but I want to do it almost for the show. I always want to, and you can critique it, right? Like, and go, is this hack? Because, and I'm not even mad. Like I go, I don't think it is. I don't.
Well, you and I are hacky, and so are 70% of comedians working. 70% of the comedians are hacky, meaning they're doing something somebody else is doing. We're all doing it. You're doing airline pilot jokes. I'm doing Jehovah's Witness. Like, we're all doing stuff that everybody's doing. There's not one. I mean, there's once in a while you have a comedian does some bizarre, crazy, weird thing, maybe, but that's very far and few between because those kind of guys don't get paid. And so most guys that are working comics, paying bills, showing up, doing headlining spots, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
we're doing stuff, 30 guys are probably doing a variation of, because there's only so many you're limited to what you can talk about and what an audience will respond to. So I'm just saying, we're not just like every painter. You go and you look at Braque, you look at Picasso, it's the same thing. Cubism was like everybody did the same exact painting. It's
brother, I agree with you.
I
think we have. I don't know. I'm trying to. I'm trying
buddy?
to. I'm
yeah,
trying
when
to,
you're a buddy,
I'm trying to suck
what?
up. Hey, brother, I'm saying nice things before I shiv you on this one.
You can't shiv me.
No, I'm not shivving you. No, what I'm saying is that I think we actually talked about this on an earlier show, or maybe we didn't, what the definition of hack is. To me, hack is not something that's been talked about before. It's something that the same actual take done that is going for a either cheap punchline that is mindless and doesn't represent an original viewpoint, or something where you took the first thing that came that down the pike, or something that's
I don't think that's hack. It's just something that's like easy. I don't. I've seen both of our acts. We do stuff that's like, I know it's coming. I'm just saying, I think the biggest hack is persona. You steal a persona is definitely it should get more of the offense than the actual jokes. I mean, like, okay. The thing is with this person, we're not trying to bring up on the show that we're doing obviously a parody of. There were actual word for word type of jokes he was taking, or he was making skits out of stand-up material.
That's joke theft.
Yeah, Amy was accused of it. There was lots of people accused of it, that do television shows, because sometimes there's the pressure of content material and whatever. But I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I get how it happens. A lot of these writers want to save their butt, and so they sometimes lift stuff, whatever. And everybody from Chris Rock to whatever. There's tons of people that do all kinds of stuff that's similar and whatever. It's I just feel like. If it's unique to you and you want to talk about it, it doesn't matter if Bill Burr's doing it, as long as it's coming from something that you didn't get inspired by Bill Burr, then it's fine. It's like the biggest problem in comedy. Let me finish my point, please.
Yeah, sorry.
The biggest problem in comedy is like you'll come up with something, and it'll be your unique perspective of it, and it'll be something that you feel passionate about, and you create the great bit from it, and then somebody else does it, and then you stop doing it because that person's more famous than you, and then there's like your bit could have been as good as theirs, and people would want to hear it, but then we have this thing where we have to stop doing it because this guy did it and he's more famous.
Right. Okay. Well, I don't consider hack. I never considered hack talking about I don't think doing an airline bit is hack. I think doing an airline bit is hack if you are doing something that 1,000 comics have taken the same take on. I've seen original airline pieces where I go, that's really funny. I don't think it's hack. I don't think there's anything hack about airline material. I think there's hack jokes that people have done that are still doing and writing, unless they're doing something, because there's things that you do in life. You have sex. There's sex jokes. There's relationship jokes. I'm just saying
about 70% of it is what some would call hack, and some wouldn't. I think some back of the room people would look at our acts and say hack, and then some people at the back of the room would say that's a great bit. And so I'm just saying,
people?
these judgy comics.
I know who are these people. I don't, we'll have to bring in a third.
The point, what I was trying to make is like, who cares? Is what I'm trying to say, because it's like there's always going to be somebody that calls you a hack. No matter how good a comic you are, I can look at every single comedian that's the greatest comedian, whatever. I can look at George Carlin and be like, that's a little Mort Saul. I can look at, Kinnison and be like, that's a little Hicks. I can look at, like we can all look, it's easy to do that. You could take every comedian. You could take Attell and be like, that's a little Schimmel. You could take this. You'd be like, that's a little this. You could do that with everybody. And so, but the problem
Well,
is, too many people do it. And, when
I want to ask Adam, as a third party looking at this debate or discussion or whatever it is, because I don't think I use hack hack to me is like there's like joke thieves in prison, in the comedy community, like in prison, pedophiles are the lowest of the low. In comedy, the joke thieves are the lowest of the low, right? Okay, and then you have hacks, which is different but also adjacent, because they're either taking stuff they've seen and doing an ersatz version of it, then that's a different breed. But that's sort of what AI does. So like if you know those AI things, I go, that's so hack, because like and you get that tone of just hackitude that you've seen a million times. And to me, that's what hack is.
What if you own it? What if you own it? What if you're like Jackie the Joke Man Martling? What if you own it and you're basically saying, hey, this is what I'm about?
I think that's a bad example. I think that's a bad example because Jackie's in a world of his own, because he's doing jokes that are already he's.
Well, so was Lisa Lampanelli. There was so many people doing that. It's like, I mean, even Rickles is like, it was a lot of those were street jokes. Some of it, it's like, it's just, I'm just saying, it's like, it'll never be solved. What's a hack and not a hack? Because the most
okay.
brilliant,
Well, then let's ask Adam for his take on this.
He doesn't have an opinion. He doesn't have an opinion.
I want
He
his
doesn't
opinion.
have one. All right, what do you got, Adam? Force one out for Brian.
Right. I mean,
any thoughts on the matter, Adam?
It has to be us.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
When's the last time? First of all, let me. Can I set him up a little bit? When's the last time you've been to a comedy club? You sat in the audience, bought 2 drinks, and watched a show.
Probably about a year ago. I live right around the corner from one too. Right around from. I live right by the dojo over in Morristown.
Okay. And did you enjoy the show?
Yeah.
Was anybody you knew, or it was like a random show?
Well, I'm trying to remember who.
Because if you know them, it's a little different. I'm just wondering if you've just gone blank into a show and watched a comedian you've never seen before.
It was a showcase, and there was only one comedian I knew.
Yeah. Did you ever tell yourself, "Oh, I've heard that joke"?
Not. I heard variations on it, so it was.
But it didn't bother you.
No.
Yeah. That's the thing. Audience doesn't care. That's the biggest problem with, if Joe Rogan had never, created that thing for Carlos or whatever, then he still would have been big. Nobody would have cared. Like the audience didn't care. His audience was just so excited that he was doing the jokes he was doing. They didn't care, and so
okay. Well, I saw Jay Moore was on a podcast recently, and he claims that the accusation on the part of what's his name?
Joe Rogan. Carlos.
Joe Rogan guy without the shirt. The guy without the shirt on the Joe Rogan show.
Bert Kreischer.
Bert Kreischer. Sorry, I'm blanking out. Bert Kreischer. He said. I think Jay Moore talked about how supposedly Bert Kreischer accused him of stealing a bit or something like that. And because of that, it hurt Jay Moore's ability to tour like big time. That's what Jay says. I don't know. I don't know much about the whole thing, but he said it really hurt his bookings and everything else. So doing, when you say nobody cares, it didn't hurt Carlos Mencia's career or whatever, or when Joe Rogan hit, if he hadn't said that. But supposedly, and I don't know that much, getting accused of being like a joke
the comedian
thief,
they care. Yeah. I'm talking about the audience doesn't care.
Well, if they're watching the person, but if Jay Moore's not selling tickets.
Yeah.
Well, if Jay Moore's not selling tickets, then he's not. Then the audience does care. If Jay Moore,
no. I'm talking about them taking in the material. I'm not talking about the aftermath.
Well, of course, when they hear it,
the accusations do. That's not what that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
Right. Okay.
I mean, Jay Moore also, he openly says that he stole from Rick Shapiro and created a bit on Saturday Night Live, and You know, it's
that's a famous story.
So it's like, people, I don't know. I think it's just a debate of like, what I'm trying to say is we're not as great as we think we are sometimes. And so that's why you just have to be careful labeling comics as, ship comics and this kind of comic here and a hack and whatever, because it's like, if you want somebody to look at you, then it's like, you could easily dissect, those of us who think we're great comics, you could easily dissect us, is what I'm saying. So that's why I get real. I try not to say anything about anybody.
Well, can I say something? Because there used to be a kind of what is it? Social opprobrium, which is like a kind of like a shunning of a certain kind of comic, and it was a self-correcting mechanism in stand-up, in which, and I felt this many times. If you did a joke on stage that was kind of like hacky, let's say, okay, you felt the cold shoulder of your peers, even if the joke crushed or killed.
Yeah.
Right. You could feel it in the room, and no one likes that. And there was a self-correcting mechanism in the comedy community in which that extant phenomenon was there in the air all the time. And I felt it. And whatever you want to say about it, I felt that it propelled you to write better, to not make the easiest choices.
Okay.
And I feel like that is kind of missing now. And the idea that you can't judge another comedian, well, that's what that was.
Yeah.
And I actually thought that was great. Not that trashing comedians or like all Bodaks suck. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about an inherent sense that what we do has beauty and is an artistically beautiful thing and deserves to have standards that we aspire to.
Yeah, no, I think that's beautiful. You said that perfectly. I just feel like when I'm on stage, and I have two goals. The first goal is entertainer. You're here to entertain this crowd, especially when there's money involved. And it's not a workout spot. I'm not trying to develop this perfect bit. I'm just trying to make that rent money. And sometimes I will say a joke. I'll do an example. I'll do a joke as I date a Hindu girl. We got along great, never any beef. And then I'll pause and be like, I know that's terrible. Sometimes you got to do a dad joke. Look at you people, you're 80. What am I going to do? And so I will make fun of myself for doing something that is easy, that has probably been done, but I will make fun of myself for it. And I'm never trying to proclaim some sort of like, I'm such a great comic. And I'll make fun of myself.
Yeah. But Dustin, your awareness of that makes all the difference.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying.
But it's not a little thing. That's who you are. You inherently have a sense of integrity about yourself that carries over into what you do. And so when you do that joke, you can't not throw in that other thing, which actually takes it to another level. Anybody can do the hacky joke. It's the person that does the hacky joke. And then, I have a joke. The guy at a petting zoo, the guy with a guy, whatever the joke is. So like, you don't take a guy with no arms to a petting zoo, right? And then one woman comes up to me, she says, what if there were people without arms in the audience? How do you think they would react to that? Well, they wouldn't be applauding. Okay. Okay, now you can say, somebody might say that's kind of hacky, or I don't think it is on any level, but whatever. But I don't care. Like your awareness, point being, your awareness of that, your calling of that out is part of your persona and part of the joke.
Yeah.
So it's what separates that from being hack. That's my point.
I appreciate you getting that. But there's been a lot of stuff online. I'll see like a lot of TikTok and Instagram now. And this is what the people are doing. They're taking, they're saying that somebody ripped off their joke. And then they're playing their video of the joke, and then they play the other person. And one girl was like, she stole my persona and my rhythm and how I say it. And then they'll show the thing, and then the jokes that they're doing are very familiar jokes. And so you're just like, this is my favorite thing. The great late Vic Henley. he had the, and I can never do this. I'm not justice or whatever, but he told me one time he was, I might have told this before. I don't care. I'm going to tell it again. Vic Henley deserves to be told anytime we can.
1,000,000 times.
And,
Vic deserves every.
He was telling me, he goes, one time I was I remember I played a comedy club and these two openers were out there in the parking lot and they were about to fight each other, the MC and the feature. And they were both fighting over who's the first one to come up with the thing where you pick a person on stage and you put your arms between, in front of them and you do, I'm driving, look at me, I'm wiping my brow. And they were about to fist fight over that. I think there was a court jester in 1515 who wrote that bit, and it was such a funny thing that even over something that is like the as far as hacky or been done a billion times. We probably first saw it when we were 7 at a birthday party. And that they would fight over whose bit that is. And that's what it looks like to me when I see these younger comedians going after, because the problem, this is actually a really good episode. The problem with, even if we've talked about some of this, it's like, this is the stuff that'll make good clips. But I think what the problem is with the new generation of comedians is they don't have a Patrice O'Neill. They don't have a Keith Robinson. They don't have these brutal, bully-esque comedians just ragging on you. Look, kind of what you were saying, where the back of the room, just telling you that's the crappiest, hackiest. There's no there's such an openness to comedy now where you're not paranoid that somebody's gonna just trash you. I remember Patrice O'Neill would go on stage and he would just be like, he would follow me and he'd be like, how'd Dustin do? Huh? Was he original? Was it hacky? Was it good? Or did you like it? Did you think he was good at all? Did you like him at all? Was he actually funny? He wasn't, right? It wasn't. It would he would do 5 minutes to the crowd about whether they liked me. And someone would be like, I didn't like him. And I'm in the back going, great. I didn't need to know this.
That's awesome. See, that's my point, is that existent dynamic is always hovering above my head, and it's what drives me to write a better joke than one that I will settle for, that I'll see another comedian who doesn't have that experience, doesn't have that awareness, or just doesn't have any interest in writing something better. It's a reverence and respect for the art form enough to give it the love it deserves and not settle for the most obvious thing. And when you have a Keith Robinson, you have a Patrice O'Neill, you have somebody like that that's going to destroy you for that. I thank God I had that, right?
Yeah, because it makes you a good comic. Like you told me you used to have a bullhorn, and somebody told you not to, whatever. Like we all go through stuff, So it's I put a fish in a glass, and whatever. We all have weird stuff.
I look back on it, and I thank the guy who told me, "Don't do that bit ever again." Okay, because you're funny and you don't need it, and that made me. And I never did it again. And I learned something from that, because that guy was cool enough to call me out on that. And he was also, that's a loving act to say to somebody, you would never do that with a hack. You would never do that with somebody who didn't have it. You'd go up to somebody that's good and you go, hey man, you're good. Get rid of that shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then there's the thing that happens, and it happens to, working comedians that don't have grace to mess around and bomb and whatever. Like we have to do well every time, or it's a situation. And so where the hack, it's not necessarily like a hack, like somebody does like hack Rich Voss crowd work or whatever. That happens a lot. That's definitely a bigger problem than people probably address. Probably all of Jersey is doing Rich Voss, crowd work. So there's there's guys that are doing that.
Before we start getting letters and cards, could you be more specific about that?
Well, like Lampanelli took a lot of Rich Voss's stuff, like just kind of that cadence of like the black guy and different jokes that are just kind of familiar once you go black, whatever. And I have versions of those sometimes, once you go white, it's all right. Like that's mine, whatever. We all have versions of it. But I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like it's just, there's a thing that happens sometimes where it's like I have jokes that I don't want to do anymore. and I feel like I've outgrown them artistically. I feel like they're easy. And but sometimes, I try to do a story about being at a Super 8, and the guy came in and and somebody yelled as somebody's dying and 27 whatever, and I was going to help him, but then I was just like, hey, there was no line for the waffle machine, and so I didn't help the guy. It's a really great story I like to tell and stuff, but it doesn't always hit. So I'm like, whatever, and so then I'll do the little people joke because I know that'll destroy. And then I sometimes I hate it that it destroys, and then it's like, but it's like this tool that I throw out. And I'm sure you have jokes like that where they're crowd pleasers, and you're just like, you'd rather not do it that night, but you just do it because it's gonna make them laugh.
You're aware. Yes, Dustin. But your awareness, your guilt over your aspirational aspects of your artistic ambition also tempers your impulses to go for the least. The lowest hanging fruit, for lack of a better word, or taking that, your cognizance of that is a constant presence there, which is what I'm talking about, which separates you from being like a hack, like who doesn't give a fuck. Like I worked with a guy who literally his closer is, I can't even, like his little closer is about, taking a crap, and it's like 7 minutes long, and to him it's like Freebird, I guess. Like to him it's like it's Stairway to Heaven.
Free
it's his
turd.
opus.
Come on now.
Yeah. Hello. It's like Dustin Schaefer for the win, And I'm watching this and I go, and he's doing it at a bar like place, a crappy club, and I'm watching this and I can't even be in the room. Like I need to shower. Like I'm like, and it's not that it's not doing well. Like it's not that it's not killing. It's getting that bad laugh that you don't want, that comedians who don't know the difference will think is laughter. It's that uncomfortable, that there's so many kinds of laughter and not all of them are good. You don't, I tell, when I coach people, I go, that's a laugh you'll get. And it's a laugh you don't want. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. Right. And any laugh is not a good laugh because it hurts your credibility going forward, and you won't be able to do anything really good if you go for that laugh there, and it'll separate you and lose the part of the audience. So my point being, we don't have to get off of a thing here, but we are.
This is good. This is good. This is good. This is better than half the stuff
and so the whole
the
debate about hack comedy is one I think is valid, because I never think hack is, oh, airplane jokes, that's hack. It's like, no, they're not. I've seen some that are, and I've seen some that are brilliant, new ones all the time that are good, right? And when I remember Dennis Miller saying, I got the guy in Dennis Miller had a great joke. He goes, I got the guy in front of me who's I always get I'm on the going down the aisle to get to my seat, and the guy in front of me is folding his sport coat like he's in the color guard at Arlington National Cemetery. Okay, like he's folding the flag at somebody's funeral. And I thought that is so funny, because I never thought, because you do that. You get caught behind the guy who's folding the flag, who's folding his sport coat. It takes him forever to put the sport coat, and he's folding that sport coat like he's in the color guard funeral at Arlington.
There's definitely great things that are said about airline stuff, and I'm trying to do one about people that rush in front of you to get off when they're behind you, and like it's a whole thing. And
and that that ain't hack. Because you're going to nail that in a way that all these other guys won't, because you're dedicated to actually doing the work involved. And that's a big difference. And so to me, that's not hack on any level.
No.
Hack is the guy who does the most obvious, like, I guess you could say like Spirit Airlines. Oh, and I know a lot of guys that do Spirit Airlines jokes, and some of them I like. And I do them. But I try to go, okay, but this is a perfect example. what's your Spirit Airline joke? Let's talk about this, because this is the difference between what's a hack Spirit Airline joke and what isn't a hack Spirit Airline joke. And I've seen, good ones and bad ones. And what's yours?
Well, it starts with, I fly with my dog. I put my dog in a bag. And for Delta Airlines, your dog has to be under 20 pounds. And I had a flight coming up, and my dog got fat over the holidays. Mm-hmm. So I literally had to cut weight with my dog. I was like, I had a little trash bag. She's running laps. She's chasing chickens like a Rocky montage. I gave her.
Already you're not a hack. Okay. Already you don't even have to go farther.
I do one hack line when I'm in a situation where I need an extra laugh. I'm not going to lie. It is something familiar, but I did hear it on a Spirit Airlines. And so, but Spirit Airlines, they do not care. You can have a 40-pound dog in a bag, and nobody checks that bag. Like, nobody even looks. Like, I could get on the plane with a beaver, and nobody at Spirit has looked inside, because they don't care. They're the pirates of the sky. For $10 upgrade, they'll let you fly the plane. They don't care. And then I say, this is what, this is the familiar line. I'll be like, I was on a Spirit Airlines once. Somebody says they're a doctor on board. I was like, wrong airline. That guy's going to die. There's no doctors.
That's funny.
They got a Dr. Pepper. It costs more than the ticket. That's about as hacky as I get with it.
There is no way that's hack on a million years. There's nothing hack about that joke on any level. Just letting you know, that is not hack. It's a Spirit Airlines bit, and it's freaking funny. So right there, I have one. Mine is Spirit Airlines. It's probably not a good idea to name an airline after what happens to you after you die. Okay. All right. So it's like just call it Corpse Airlines, or what was that? Cadaver. I think is what my Cadaver. Okay. There's my Spirit Airlines joke. Is that hack? No, it's not. It's like, and yours isn't either. My point being exactly that. Like if you're going to just say, getting on Spirit is like this or whatever. And I know guys that have some Spirit Airlines jokes that are funny. Even the hack ones are kind of funny. And I don't want to say that any Spirit Airline joke is hack, or even some of the hacky ones are hack. I'm trying to think of categories of jokes. Spirit Airlines, I've seen a lot of them.
Well, what you should do, just call it Frontier instead of Spirit, and then it upgrades the joke.
I can't do that because I used to do commercials for Frontier, so I can't do that. Yeah, so I can't do that.
Alaska Airlines.
You can do that. Yeah,
Alaska Airlines. You can do that.
Yeah. But I mean, but that's what I'm talking about. Is like, there's a million Spirit Airlines jokes, and I wrote like a couple that I thought were kind of funny, and then I saw 20 guys doing similar jokes about it's a megabus or whatever in the sky. Like I've been on the megabus that had better, I don't know, whatever, construction, I don't know, whatever. Yeah. The point being that but then the thing about the thing about the name, I thought no one's done that. I haven't seen that. Okay, so let's do that. The thing that you're doing about the dog that ties into something is just using Spirit as a backdrop. Right, like for your bit. So it's not the same, and that's not a hack bit.
But I think what happens, like the difference in this opinion is we're very similar, on most of what we're talking about. I guess what's happening with me is there used to be this, and it's sad almost. There used to be this fight in me that I cared what other comedians were doing, and now, the older I get in comedy and older I get in life, I'm a little like, if I see somebody, going on before me on a cruise ship or something, and they got the MAGA hat, and they're going to do this impression of Obama, they're going to do the impression of this and that, they're going to do De Niro, they're going to, I used to get very indignant about the whole thing, and I would just be like, Now I'm just like, great, I got to follow that. Like, I'm more concerned about how well it's going to do than I'm judging this comedian on their artistic merit. It's more like, oh, okay, this is going to be hard to follow. I don't even think about it anymore. That it's bad. I just think, I got to follow that. Like, that's all I'm thinking about.
I think maybe it's hack if another comedian starts to make, like, bringing up Dennis Miller again. Dennis Miller did a joke about comedians who did Nicholson. So like, if you reach that level where the piece itself has become so kind of cringeworthy in terms of the comedians in the back watching you. You're doing this, and they don't do anything creative with it. It's just the voice going, "Hey, what the hell? I turn into Nicholson. All right, all right, pal."
Well, Trump is getting pretty close. He's getting pretty close to Nicholson. Like it's
yeah, but I'm saying that you can do Trump if you've got something to say. Like as far as a guy who does voices, I love when I see somebody take a voice or do a character or do something and do something really creative with it, because I see people do hack stuff and I've seen people do like a funny, bit about it. Just doing the voice doesn't.
Yeah. Let me interject real quick. So I saw the weirdest thing ever. I was on a ship with a respectable comedian. He had like a TV show. He, like interest, whatever. He's very, very
When was
funny.
this?
Recently. And probably, I don't know, 6 months ago, 5 months ago.
Okay.
And very funny guy. Very just, commands the stage, just very funny. And so he did a thing where but here's his deal. There was another comedian doing a particular bit and does an impression of like a famous actor or whatever, and he, getting a blowjob or something, and it's just like this ridiculous bit that he's doing, and so he got permission from the comedian, and he says, "Hey, I want to expand that bit," and so not only he has the one actor, and then he has like a former president, and he has like all these other guys, and he's a great comic, and I like the guy a lot. He was really good, and then we got to that, I was like, and then he tells the audience the comedian's name, and he says, "I got permission from this comedian to add on to this joke because I think it's so funny," and it was the weirdest thing. And
wait, the comedian wasn't even on the show with him?
It would be like me. It would be like me taking like I know you don't. This is an old bit of yours, but it's a brilliant bit. But like let's say the gay football coach or whatever, and I said, and I said, and I go, my friend Brian Scott McFadden does this joke about a gay football coach. Is like that's how women want us to be. I would like to expand on that. And wait. And I also think there wants to be like a gay cheerleader or whatever. Like, and I added a bunch of stuff to it, but I gave you props as I'm telling. It was the weirdest thing because technically it's not a steal because they've had a conversation. But it was like the most bizarre thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Like, now you and I are going to have to take this offline, and I want to know the whole story of this because this to me is fascinating.
But it was the weirdest thing because it was like, and he didn't outright steal it because he got permission from the guy, but he was basically doing that guy's joke, but then he was adding on to it, and it was that's I don't even know where to even begin with. I don't either. I was blown away by it because I had such a wonderful week with him, and then when he started to do that, I didn't have the heart to tell him, I go, "That's stupid. Why are you doing that?" Because he was, and he was killing every time. I mean, he was just
Adam. How much time more do we have on the show? Because I'm dying to get offline with Adam and Dustin and tell me who this is, right? Because I need. Obviously,
I'll get to you. I'll get to you. But it was like this bizarre thing where it was just like I got permission, so now it's okay for me to take this joke that is somebody else's, and I'm also going to add on to it. And then in his mind, it's like he's giving the guy credit, and then maybe the audience will be like, "Oh, let me look up this guy." But trust me, they weren't looking up that guy because the joke is ridiculous.
That's nuts. I mean, that doesn't even fit in any category.
Thing. And he's a real comic, and it's like he had like a sitcom and everything, and so it was like really crazy that he was doing this thing, and I had to sit there and act like it was normal, and I know the guy that he's using the joke from very well, and so
well, I guess there's something. I guess there's something to be said. At least the guy didn't steal it blind, and he was actually crediting.
I mean, he might have got 3 followers on Instagram. I don't know, but he said his full name. He did the whole thing. Like, so it was so weird. It was just a weird, like I guess it was kind of like the version of comedians doing a cover song. And it's like, but I'm gonna change the lyrics a little bit.
Well, I mean, it's first of all, as any comedian knows who does voices, we've talked about this. That's why I stopped doing impressions. It was exhausting to constantly churn out new contrived scenarios to shoehorn the voices into. That is always a problem. for any comedian who does characters and voices is you have to justify their existence somewhere in your act. Okay. And there's no way to justify that you're doing Nicolas Cage out of nowhere. Okay. And
it is a hard thing. Yeah, I think that's why he was doing this, because it structured him in a way that he could do all, because he's good at all impressions.
Yes,
and he did a great Obama, he did a great Bill Clinton, whatever. I mean, the fact somebody is Bill Clinton in 2026, I mean, it's beyond me. Yeah, but he was doing them well. And
I think I know who this is, but I'm gonna I think I know who this might be. But
you guys could be cousins. If that gives you anything.
I think I know who you're talking about, but we'll move on. Okay, we'll move on. But this is a see. I think there's this. See, I get a little cringeworthy when I hear this idea that comedians should never speak ill of other comedians, and I really believe that up to a point, because I feel like if we don't as a community self-regulate in terms of,
but it depends on the comedian. It depends on the comedian. If Dave Attell comes up and says something, that's fine. But if somebody that I don't respect wants to tell me about my bit, then it could be a problem.
No. Yeah, but that's a given. That's already baked in. That's already baked in.
But I think a lot of the people that are complaining aren't all respected comedians. And so you have to be careful with the mob mentality.
Well, wait, but you're talking about TikTok and Instagram and people saying this guy stole this.
Comedy is right now. You and I are in the stone age.
No, but I know that. But all I'm saying is when I go online, and there's a perfect example of that online right now, somebody that I know and friends that posted a joke, and people are accusing him of stealing from this other thing, and it's completely ridiculous because that's what the internet is. But that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, which is if a comedian is accusing another comedian of theft. Okay, that's a clear-cut case of joke theft.
Like but that's different Rogan. Too. I've seen that happen. Like
that's
if you
another
work
category.
With me, and then next week you're doing my bit, then that's something completely different. Yeah, that has nothing to do with respect. I mean, you're stealing my stuff. Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, right. I mean, we've all gone through that. But I'll always confront someone. I'll be like, dude, you know, I was doing that. You saw me do it.
My favorite are the guys that change a few words around.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, it's still my joke. It's still my voice you're doing. I can smell it a mile away. And it's like, oh, I'm going to change that adverb to something else. And now
you confront people? Do you confront people?
I have in the past.
Yeah.
And I basically do it in a jokey kind of way. It goes, hey, that sounds familiar. That sounds a little. Tell me next time you do that around me so that can you just tell me that so I know? It's sort of like a way, because if I'm following them, because I've gone up after people and you know that feeling, and we've talked about this, you know that feeling where you do a joke and you haven't seen who's on the show before you, and you do a joke and the audience doesn't laugh the way they always do, and you go, I knew right away, I knew right away, I go, somebody did it. Somebody did this. Someone's doing this. Yeah. And then it happened like 3 times and I go, someone's doing it. So I asked somebody and I go, hey, is anyone doing it? And they go, oh yeah. And it's like a young guy.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, thank you for letting me know, because they're doing a variation of it. But it's something they saw me do, and it's a little bit of a tweak of it, but it's the same goddamn thing. And it's like, and you're doing it before.
That's funny. Last night I was panicking because I had a show, and it was like this at the Yomashiro here in LA, and it was like a really cool room, but you can't really watch the show, and you can't hear the show, and so you could see the show, and so I'm like trying to put my ear against the window because I don't want to do what somebody's doing, but there's 3 comics before me, but I can't hear anything, and it drove me nuts that I couldn't at least have a few moments to hear what comics are doing. And it's like I just got to go with it because I don't know. I just can't hear any comedians. But I think that's, I think it's definitely a complex thing. But
well, I mean, I think the comedy community, and I just say that I welcomed. A guy came up to me, and said that you're doing a joke that's similar to mine, and then I watch his joke and I go, okay, I can see the similarity there. Maybe I did see him do it. Stop doing it.
Yeah.
I wrote a joke about tilapia think I said this already. Greg Rogel has a bit about tilapia. I saw Greg Rogel's bit, and I'm like, all right, I'm done, because his is already 1,000 times better than mine anyway, right? So, and he strip mined the whole thing, and it was great. Like, and I go, oh, I can't do my tilapia bit anymore, you know, because unless I find a better angle, but he's doing some of the same observations as me, and I go, okay, we're done with that. Like that.
Well, and then there's also kind of this like, you know, athlete camaraderie mentality of like, hey, man, you know, I do this weed joke, and you do this weed joke, and we both aren't going to stop doing it. But, you know, I'm going on after you. Are you going to do that joke? And you have like real dialogue with the comedian and be like, hey, are you doing your weed joke tonight? Because if you are, I'm not going to do mine. And if you're not, then I might break it out. Is that cool? And whatever. And so that's how it should be, because sometimes there are going to be jokes that are similar, and then you're both going to kind of be like, you're just going to hold on, be like, sorry, I wrote that bit. I'd never seen you do it. And, you know, and sometimes I remember I got a message from a comic, and he sent me a video of Norm Macdonald, and Norm Macdonald was doing a joke about a homeless dog and a homeless guy or whatever. And I do a joke about that. And I'd never seen it. I'd never seen his, and he's a great comedian, but trust me, I just never seen him do that joke. And so, you know, and then he was like, you know, trying to like, you know, imply something. And I was like, dude, I never seen that bit, and I'm not going to not do that bit because he has something similar. And it's just like, you know, and so it was just like,
okay, but for no reason. Yeah, of course. And like Ray Allen does a joke about airline announcements. And I have a thing where I do all the voices in the airline announcements. It's a really funny bit. It's like, but it's one of my older bits, and I sometimes don't do it much anymore. But and Ray goes, you know, good afternoon, this is your pilot speaking. And right there, if he does that bit before me, it kills. Just by doing that, it kills. You know, if he does any of that, my bit is dead, right? Like, because it's not dead, but it knocks it down 3 points.
Yeah, and he's booking the show, so he's paying you, so you got to be like,
So it's like if he does that bit, and there's some nights, there's some nights where he'll do the bit, and I'll go, okay, I won't do my bit because he did that bit. So okay, and I'll say to him, did you do the airline thing? And he'll say no, and I'll go, okay, I can do it. But that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. It's just common courtesy and comedy. Honor,
but it does have to do with the sense of material being similar, and that's where it does tie to. Whereas like there's a way to deal with it in an aggressive way. There's a way to have a conversation about it. And there's a way to like, and then there's posting online and saying whatever. Like, you know, you could reach out to those people like, hey, just so you know, I have a video. It's got like so many hits or whatever. I've been doing it like that. You know, those comedians instead, they're just, you know, putting out for shock. And they're like, this person stole my stuff and da-da-da-da. And it becomes a whole thing.
Well,
and
my favorite is, my favorite is when people go, there's a guy doing your bit. And then I go look at the bit and I go, that's nothing like my I'm like worried. And then most of the time it's like, okay, there's like a little joke that's a little similar, but it's not really. Sometimes there's been a little bit of, okay, that sounds a little fishy there. Okay. But most of the time, you know, it's a false alarm.
Yeah. And sometimes I don't care. Like there's a bit that I do. I do the thing about like, if you hate Mexicans and no more guacamole, if you hate black people, no more sports, whatever. I do this whole thing. And I love it. It kills. I love it. It's a part of my act. And I remember Eddie Brill said some dude in the 70s is doing something like that. You know, some emailed me something about Trevor Noah doing something. And I didn't even look at I didn't take Eddie Brill. I just kind of brushed off. And then the video somebody said with Trevor Noah, I didn't even watch it. I was like, I don't care. I guarantee you it's probably similar. But
Gary Muledeer.
I'm just not going
to. Yes. Gary Muledeer did it on Cabot, on the Dick Cabot show.
Did he?
I'm joking.
Oh.
No, I'm joking. I just pulled a name out of my yeah.
Yeah, but you know those weird old references. For a second, I was like, "Oh, great!" Now I got
Tim Thomerson did that at the Improv back in '78. No, I'm joking. I don't know. I'm just saying that's a funny. Johnny Yoon had a very similar piece.
Well, maybe you and I should do it. We should do an online hoax where you and I accuse each other of bits being stolen from each other, and then maybe we'll get some. That sounds like a plan. We'll get some hits from people. Just oh my gosh, they're in a fight. We do a fake fight about comedy. That's really funny.
Yes,
but we make it the worst joke. We just come up with like the worst joke, and then we just like both fight over it. That's actually really funny. That's a funny like parody thing where it's just like, you know, we're just doing some joke like, "Where are you from?" Like, I wrote that. You know.
Okay, so as we wrap up, that's a perfect note to wrap up on a feud. A funny feud that we, but are there any? I remember specifically Gilligan's Island, Brady Bunch, and douche commercials being the like holy grail of hack. Okay, like if you even mentioned them in your act, you almost were like excommunicated. Back in, if you did those jokes in the early '90s, you were it was like being branded with you were a scarlet letter as a comic.
And then I'm
wondering I'm wondering what's today. What's a topic? And I know people are going to go trends, and I'm like, no, I don't think it's that. Right? Like you know.
Well, anything that's outdated politically, you know, it seems like I remember like 3 years after OJ, when somebody would just get up and do an OJ joke or something, you'd just be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but that's dated. That's different from what I would say. I'm trying to think of topics that are specifically...
Internet dating online. That's probably very hacky.
That's in the realm. That's in the realm. You're right.
Yeah.
That's in the realm.
Twitter, or what is it? Tinder, like anything like that is very, feels...
What is it?
Tinder, anything, Tinder profile. It's a dating app.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. That has reached saturation level.
Yeah.
Something that's reached such a saturation level that the mere mention of it, like if you said Gilligan, the professor can fix a hole in the boat, but he can't get them all, can't whatever. We can make a computer out of coconuts.
Well,
like the ultimate hack joke, but he can't fix the hole in the boat.
7 channels when we had like 6 channels, and so that's why that's hacky to us, because we just
I understand.
Yeah.
My point being
TV show or anything, but I think it's online dating would be the biggest one. I think that would probably be the one that comes to mind first.
Right. All right. Well, there we go.
Oh, so we're going to fight over a Tinder joke? That's pretty funny.
Yes, we're going to fight over a Tinder joke.
I think you should fight over a Gilligan's Island joke. That's even funnier.
2 Tinder people fighting over a Gilligan's Island joke.
Fighting over an OJ joke.
Yeah, but okay. Well, I think we've strip mined this one, and I think it was a good. We've done a really good
one of these, and then we can work on the material another time. But good job today, guys. Thank you for letting me vent before the show and like get some ideas out, because I feel better now. I just don't want to go into this and be like half-assed. So it's like I feel better now, and so no matter what happens, I'm good with it, because you guys let me have my town hall, and I appreciate it.
What do we call this episode? Hall of your town hall, your therapy town hall.
Therapy town hall. Yeah. No, but it's like, because we're talented, we got a good thing going. I just want to get it, and I have some ideas now. I think just Adam and I can like play around with, and then I'll need you to step it up with promotion, and we'll get it going. We'll get it going.
All right. So Hall of Hack, what do we call this episode? Hall of Hack.
That's Adam's job. I let Adam have the freedom of that. So.
The etymology of hack, the exegesis of hack. I don't know, whatever. Hack attack, something.
Hack man. To
be continued. All right, guys.
Good job, everybody.
All right.
Yay. Peace and love.
Yay.
Before we wrap, I had an idea. If you want to go full circle and have Men See AI talk about hack comedians.
That's great. Oh, this is like the human centipede. This is going to be great.
This is pure, just all meta.
Yeah.
All right.
All the time.
All right. Settle down, folks. Nice to be here tonight. Now, I don't want to say the stage is crowded, but there's more hack comedians here than at an open mic night in LA.
More washed up talent than a reality show for celebrity impersonators. You know you're a hack comedian when your best joke is the one you stole from a 1983 Johnny Carson monologue. Or when your routine includes more your mom jokes than a 12-year-old's Xbox Live party chat. Seriously, I've seen more originality in a network sitcom. Hey, have you noticed that hack comedians always have that look? You know the one, they dress like they're stuck in a time warp from 2006. You know, the Ed Hardy phase. They think they're edgy with their puka shell necklaces and frosted tips, but they just look like a middle-aged boy band that never made it. And let's not forget their personality. Actually, we could, and we wouldn't miss much. There's less depth in their persona than in a Kardashian tweet. And yet, somehow, they still manage to have more contradictions than a Flat Earth Society member using GPS. Then there's the habits of the hack comedian. These guys think quoting Borat in a fake accent is the height of hilarity. They're the ones laughing at their own punchlines because God knows nobody else is. And their act is as predictable as the plot in a Hallmark Christmas movie. And let's talk about their penchant for props, because nothing says I'm funny like a rubber chicken and a whoopee cushion, right? It's like they raided Carrot Top's garage sale. And finally, have you noticed how hack comedians always pander to the crowd? Anybody here from Ohio? They ask, praying for that cheap applause. It's painfully clear they're more desperate for approval than a neglected middle child. All right. Now I've had my fun. I'll get off the stage before you think I'm trying to join the ranks of the hack comedians I just roasted. To all the true comedic talents out there, keep doing what you do. And to all the hacks, well, there's always mime school. Good night, folks.
Wow, that was painful. There was something funny. What was there was one funny thing, like go back up. Like what was the thing that was funny? Actually, we could. Oh, it's let's not forget their personality. Actually, we could, but we wouldn't miss much, which was almost like a funny line. Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
I like middle-aged boy band that didn't make it. I do feel like.
Yeah, I love the Ed Hardy puka shells because that just made me laugh. There's like a boy band. Yeah, but all of this was just god awful. Yep. It was just god awful.
It's like you're roasting hack comics with hackier material.
Yes. A hack comic roasting hack comics.
Yeah, the hack comics look like geniuses compared to this roast.
Yeah, like a hack comic would look at this guy. You know what I mean? Like
how hack is this?
That's a hack over there. Like,
but I'm
now
sure
I feel
there's
better
hacks
about
that do that
life.
too, where they're like they're hacks, but they go, that guy's a hack. You know, it's like you never look at yourself. That was interesting.
Well, thanks for bringing that up, Adam. That was like I feel like matter meeting antimatter, and the whole world is blowing up, right? Like that's just like a hack comic doing hack comedy and talking about hack comics is like
it's
like too much for one person to bear.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like a black hole that I don't quite understand, but okay.
It eats everything in its
Stephen
path.
Hawking's,
okay,
he's pretty hacky. Not him.
Yeah, no, I have a great Stephen Hawking bit, so I don't want to. Hello, good night, and scene. Okay.
Well, folks, that's our show. It's time for us to go. Make sure to follow us, give us a like, drop us a comment, and always subscribe. We're Chasing Comedy on all the socials. We hope you had a gas, had some laughs, and maybe you learned something too. Until next time, we're Brian and Dustin, and we're chasing comedy.